To start our proceedings, Your Excellency, a family member will now be given an opportunity to address the mourners. Allow me, therefore, to invite Dr. Onsimo Kadare, the Ribeiro family representative, to address us. Dr. Kadare.
As a family, we would like to thank the government, and in particular His Excellency, the President, for conferring the national hero status upon our beloved Sekuru, father, priest, and our family hero. As a family, we had preferred that Sekuru be interred at Chishawasha Cemetery, where all priests in the Archdiocese of Harare are interred. This was also what Archbishop Ndlovu and the church had preferred. However, we had to play a tight balancing act, especially after the President's passionate plea and in consideration of the role played by Sekuru in saving the President from the gallows of the oppressive Smith regime, and also the role Sekuru played in escorting the former President, Robert Mugabe, and Edgar Tekere at that time on their journey to Mozambique. We therefore agreed that Sekuru be buried here at the National Heroes Acre.
It is now my privilege and honor to invite you, Your Excellency, to address the mourners. Your Excellency said.
A dark cloud hovers over our country and the church at large. As we gather here at the National Shrine to lay to rest, mourn and celebrate the life of a Roman Catholic cleric, Father Emmanuel Francis Ribeiro. Father Ribeiro died on Thursday at the age of 86 at St. Anne's Hospital in Harare after a short illness. With us, mourn a great son of the soil, a Roman Catholic Church priest, Father Baba, a brother, a comrade, composer, and a novelist. He worked tirelessly and used his diverse talents to nurture the souls of many people in our beloved country, Zimbabwe. On the same day of his passing, we also received sad news of the passing on of the last surviving founding father of the OAU on our continent, Africa, and founding president of the Sister Republic of Zambia, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda. May their dear departed souls rest in eternal peace. Your Grace, the Archbishop, fellow mourners, comrades, and friends, today's solemn occasion is special in that we gather to lay to rest a distinguished servant of God in the Roman Catholic Church, who also stood out as a unique fighter for the freedoms of our people and our once shackled country, Zimbabwe. He was and remains special in our hearts. I'm personally pained by his demise, for our lives and fates intersected under extremely difficult and unenviable circumstances. Those circumstances knit us together after he saved me from the gallows with his sheer compassionate goodness and astuteness. Allow me to say thank you, Father Emmanuel Ribeiro, for agreeing to be an instrument of God's saving grace. I am reminded of a verse from the Bible in John 15, verse 13, which says, and I quote, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends and brothers." End of quote. May I once again, on behalf of government, the parties and PF, my family, and indeed on my own behalf, express my heartfelt condolences to the bereaved Ribeiro family and the church. Profound condolences are equally extended to His Grace, Archbishop Robert Ndlovu, and the entire Roman Catholic Church on the death of Father Emmanuel Francis Ribeiro. You are not alone in this hour of deep grief. Our whole nation stands and mourns with you. Father Ribeiro is the first ever cleric to be interred here at the National Heroes Acre. Indeed, the decision to honor him in this very special way was befitting and unanimous. I'm aware that the Roman Catholic Church has its own burial arrangements for personages such as the late Father Ribeiro. Yet the Church, along with the Ribeiro family, accepted the government's request to have our beloved national hero to be rested here. I thank you, Archbishop Robert Ndlovu, and the entire leadership of the Roman Catholic Church and the family. Government does not take this gesture for granted. You have given us one of your own so that we rest him together with his liberation war compatriots who lie here. Your Grace, fellow mourners, comrades, and friends, over the last few days, we have listened to and read about the rich and riveting life story of the late Father Ribeiro. The late national hero, Father Emmanuel Ribeiro, was the son of Francisco and Hilda Ribeiro. He was born on 15th August 1935 in Chivu. He did his sub-A and sub-B in Kadoma from 1944 to 1945. From 1946 to 1950, he undertook Standard 1 to Standard 5 at Driefontein in Churumanzu. In 1951, he went to Kutama Mission for his Standard 6. The late national hero, Father Emmanuel Ribeiro, did his junior certificate in education in 1952 at Shawasha Seminary. By then, he had already started answering his call to priesthood. He proceeded to Gokomere Mission for a teaching course. He started philosophy studies in 1957 and completed in 1959 at Shawasha Seminary. He then went on probation in 1960. During this time, he was teaching at Marymount Mission. He was conferred the Ministry of Sub-Deaconate in July 1963 and was ordained a deacon in December 1963 at the Sacred Heart Cathedral in the then Salisbury. The following year, in December 1964, he was ordained a priest. It is from 1965 to 1967 that he was assigned at St. Michael's Mondoro. He later moved to St. Mary's, Highfield in 1967, where he stayed until 1969. Thereafter, he was appointed chaplain of Rhodesian Prison Service, a position he held until 1982. The late national hero worked in the Ministry of Education and Culture from 1983. In August 1990, he went to study in the United States at Indiana University, where he furthered his music education. In January 2009, he was assigned to St. Mary's, Highfield, as a curate until the time of his death. Distinguished mourners, comrades and friends, the late national hero, Father Ribeiro, was a man of many talents. He had outstanding musical prowess, particularly in the area of church music. In his quiet yet effective way, he subtly challenged the church ethos. Often, this challenge would take innocent forms such as the nature of hymns that expressed worship and inspired fellowship within the church. He knew the power of music. For him, the Catholic Church in Africa, or any church at all, had to express and fulfill its mission in the African context. Motivated by that conviction, he composed songs inspired by African musical traditions. Through his trailblazing efforts, indigenous instruments such as ngoma, osho, wamanda, and mbira began playing in the church. This was contrary to the dominant colonial view and indeed liberating. Through such far-reaching acts, the late Father Ribeiro and his peers showed the way. Today, some of our churches have truly transformed the value of our African music instruments and the ways of worship. Together with his late friend Stephen Magwa Ponde, he composed songs for liturgy and many Shona hymns. His first composition was Gamchirai Mambo Mupiro Uyi. Other songs include Hallelujah Munyika Zose, Tauya Nezvipo Zompiro, Mambo Mwari Wamasimba, Mwari Ngarumbidzwe, among other songs which he composed. Fellow mourners, exposed to the poverty and suffering of his fellow African compatriots under settler Rhodesia, Father Ribeiro priestly ministry fused the spiritual and the glaring national realities for a fuller, rounded ministry. Indeed, he followed in the steps of Jesus Christ by standing for the poor, the downtrodden, and the broken-hearted, as well as helping setting prisoners free. My early personal encounter with the late national hero, Father Ribeiro, was in circumstances of penal incarceration at Salisbury Maximum Prison in the 60s. Through his spirited intercession, which included legal representation, my death sentence was commuted to 10 years imprisonment and isolated cells. Together with Father Swift, Father Nyahwa, and Father Mapondera, he became my link with humanity and with society from which I had been removed. Although my fate was painful, I was one of the lucky few to be spared the gallows. My colleagues in the Crocodile Gang and the many other captured freedom fighters and collaborators who came after us were brutally hanged. It fell on prison chaplains like the late Father Ribeiro to do the last rites and the prayers for those condemned comrades to be hanged. It was during his time as the chaplain at Rhodesia Prison Service that he again met the late former president, the late Comrade Robert Gabriel Mugabe. In 1975, he helped the former president escape from the Rhodesian forces and cross into Mozambique, accompanied by Tekere. He also sheltered the late former president, Comrade R.G. Mugabe, and the late Emerson Kala at his rectory at Roseville Parish when they were being hunted down by the security forces of the country, Rhodesia. Our late national hero would recall the numerous cases where 15-year-old or younger teenagers were hanged by the savage settler regime of Rhodesia. There were other incidences where condemned men and women who would have miraculously survived the noose were finished off in cold blood by the regime's teams of hangmen. This took a heavy toll on Father Ribeiro and others in his position, creating never-ending trauma. We shared the strong views against the death penalty with Father Ribeiro. He was against death penalty, fought and campaigned against it. The decision by our national hero to trace the lives and the families of such ill-fated comrades and cadres of the struggle was part of his attempt to have that part of the cruel colonial history correctly told. His life came to an abrupt end before he had completed his assignment. To the muzukuru angachitaurapo, muzukuru Father Ribeiro basati vashaya nemusi wechitatu vakataura kumutevedzi wangu aenda kunovaona kuSt. Anne's kuti pane muzukuru wangu ane laptop zvinovasiya zvimwe. Pane muzukuru wangu ane laptop nemamwe mapepa. Mwindai munoatora nokuti iye haangazivi kuti ane basa. Saka waita zvakanaka kubuda pachena. Vachauya vakomana vozotora. Thankfully, the bulk of the research work had been done, laying a solid base for our historians to pick up the tab, so the story is conclusively written for posterity. To lay him to rest here at the National Shrine is thus a call to re-engage our past and our history as a nation born out of a bloody and a protracted armed struggle for our independence. Under the Second Republic, we continue to tell the correct history. We refuse to endorse narratives that depict our struggle for liberation as having been mindless efforts by an ill-informed race fighting and resisting Christianity and civilization as the whites would want us to believe. Comrades and friends, the late national hero was a man who had a deep love for God and the people of God. He equally loved his country and he would talk passionately about it. He was pained by the fact that many people did not know the history of their country. The late national hero, Father Ribeiro, was also a literary man who pioneered the tradition of Zimbabwean literature through national languages, along with the likes of the Archbishop Patrick Chakaipa, Solomon Mtsairo, and others. He was an eminent writer, and two of his novels, Muchadura and Tonderai, scoped the Rhodesian Literature Bureau prizes and were also used as set books for our schools. To this day, many of our indigenous writers look up to this pioneering generation of writers. There is nothing demeaning or unliterary about expressing one's creativity in local national languages. In this spirit, our 2013 National Constitution accorded pride of place to 16 of our national languages. Our languages are indeed a part of our identity as a people and as a nation. It is also encouraging that the National Development Strategy 1 has already been translated into all the 16 national languages. The cleric, cum nationalist, we are laying to rest today, lived and demonstrated unity in struggle. He was part of the committee that designed Zimbabwe's national flag, which we fly today. And he chaired the committee which penned Zimbabwe's national anthem. Such contribution to the nation will forever be cherished by the people of this country. We shall equally remember how he joined hands with fellow Christians from different denominations to denounce the heinous illegal sanctions unjustly imposed on our nation by the West. He never wavered on the question of land, the recovery of which he located in scriptures. Today, as we lay to rest this unique and a celebrated cleric of wide-ranging talents, the lessons to our nation from his life are many and are varied. He saw God manifesting himself in the everyday lives of the people. The life of the late national hero teaches us the importance of righteous simplicity, virtue, morality, and goodness. The late Father Ribeiro also esteemed Ubuntu philosophy. Let us draw from these values of humility, courtesy, honesty, and thoughtfulness as we build a morally upright and prosperous society. More so when we face countless societal ills, some of which can be attributed to the impact of globalization. These threaten to flatten and overwhelm local cultures of our nation. And becoming trends such as the alarming entry of destructive drugs into our jurisdiction threaten the fate of our youth. To the youth in general, bring honor to your families, bring honor to your communities, and bring honor to your nation. This is what we also learn from the late Father Ribeiro. There is need, therefore, to redouble our collective fight against this new phenomenon of drugs and other harmful substances abuse. My government will thus continue to take staying measures to stamp out this growing threat. In the same vein, gun-related crime will not be tolerated under the Second Republic. Law enforcement agencies and the courts must work in concert to ensure that perpetrators of gun-related crimes, violent drug kingpins, the supply chains and drug vendors are definitely smoked out and brought to book. The late Father Ribeiro was a clean man who hated corruption. The National Development Strategy 1 and Vision 2030 cannot be realized in any environment that breeds corruption. Equally, we must work together more concertedly to improve the welfare of our people. Business people should not confuse profit from profiteering. The realization of Vision 2030 must truly create a middle-income society which leaves no one behind. Let us therefore all uphold the great values of patriotism for our country, hard, honest work, and taking care of the vulnerable within our society, which were embedded in the man we are laying to rest today. We say to our beloved national hero, thank you for a job well done and for a life lived in righteousness, with honor and distinction. You fought a good fight. You ran a good race. You showed the way. Farewell, son of the soil. Go well, the people's priest. Rest in eternal peace, our hero. Rara murugare gambara magamba. Lala ngokutula kawe la makawe. God bless you all. God bless Zimbabwe. I thank you.
Kuma